Sean?
Greetings, Edrenka. Greetings, viewers. There was much discussion around in the House of Assembly this week, at the 8th sitting of the House of Assembly, around the establishment of an operating line of credit, a facility that government is setting up with CIBC First Caribbean International Bank. Now, that LOC is expected to allow government to improve its cash flow. However, you may have heard from opposition leader and the 3rd District Representative, Honorable Julian Fraser, that he distrusts the government and he didn't really see the need for the LOC arrangement. He also suggested that it's a loan, which pretty much one can argue it is. However, when you look at both sides of the argument, you have to ask, how will the administering of the loan affect the society? What are the benefits? Are there any pitfalls? Is government making the right decision? And to set the conversation in the right context, I believe we selected this clip from Deputy Premier and the Minister responsible for the 7th District, Honorable Kedrick Pickering. Let's hear what he had to say.
There's a lot of talk that goes on in here about locals and protecting locals and who care more about locals, and all of us care about locals. That's why we are here. We run for election because we think something about ourselves and we think other people think the same thing about us. That's why we are here. They say about politicians that you have to have an ego. You have to feel people think something about you that they might vote for you. That's why we are. We care about what we could do to help people. We are all here for that purpose. We just have different methodologies and different philosophical approach to doing it, Madam Speaker. And some of us are a little bit here longer than others. But this is about helping the little man. One of my core principles, Madam Speaker, I fundamentally believe when people work, they must be paid. Plain and simple. You know, I despise the fact of owing people. It's not in my DNA. You know, I can't make a lot of money. I can't owe people. You know, and when government owe people and people will have to come to your homes and call you up and ask you, Doc, you can't see if the government will pay me the little money what I'm owing me. It's painful. You know, and all my colleagues before have explained how government revenues are collected and why it is a problem. This is basically simple and plain a method and a methodology to ensure that people are paid on time.
Now, Edrenka, in the 2015 budgetary estimates, government anticipated a total revenue of some $311 million. In 2016, we're hearing that figure is up in the region of $330 million or thereabout. However, we all recognize by now, and we should, that that money doesn't come at the start of the year. It's an accumulation, and for the most part, especially as it relates to revenue coming in from the financial services sector, much of that revenue comes at the latter part of the year. It means, therefore, as the Deputy Premier is saying, that for the most part, many businesses, individuals across the territory, within this country in particular, are owed by government. And you can imagine the rippling effect on small businesses. And as a result, it must, and it will in fact, the various aspects of the economy, the housing sector, the construction sector, you know, you mentioned trade, you may want to mention even the hospitality sector. So just think about the rippling effect of government not being able to pay. So I believe that LOC arrangement with CIBC First Caribbean borrowing some $25 million may very well turn out to be a good move, except of course the administration of the loan facility or that arrangement isn't handled properly.
Well, I think you explained it very well, Sean. I wouldn't call it a loan, though. I wouldn't say that it is a loan in the true sense of the word, of being a loan. Certainly, my disappointment is in the fact that it wasn't done sooner. I mean, I think most businesses around the world, and many businesses, say in the Virgin Islands, have a line of credit because there's some slow periods, there's some up periods, some down periods. There are some bills that are regular, that's there all the time. Your monthly overheads are always there. They don't change with the increase or decrease in business. So you need to make sure that you can pay those bills. Your staff, you need to make sure that they are paid while money is going to come in. You can have people that you give credit to, and sometimes they take a little longer to pay. There's a whole lot of factors revolving around a line of credit, and I'm really happy to see that the government is finally gotten around to getting the line of credit. As you know, the financial services money particularly comes at a certain specific periodic times.
Yes.
And as you said earlier, quite rightly, the money is not, the $330 million is not there.
Yeah,
You
it's projected revenue.
It's projected
Yes.
revenue. And it also, let me just say as a tangent, that continued increase in projected revenue and the actual accumulation of that revenue at the end of the period is a signal that the country is growing. If
There's no stagnation in that.
right,
regard.
if you budgeted 311 million the year before, and now you're expecting 330 million this year, you're talking about economic growth.
Yes, there's expansion.
There's expansion,
Yes.
there's economic expansion, and as you rightly pointed out, the money doesn't come in at the beginning of the year. It doesn't even come in regularly during the course of the year.
Right.
And during those times, you have things that you have to pay for. You have things you have to buy. You have salaries you have to pay. And so I'm happy that the government has seen it fit to get that line of credit, and it's going to help, as you pointed out again, Sean, with small businesses, people that have rentals. I mean, it's a whole.
Because we know government, for
creates
the
a whole
most part,
economic-
is the main employer, in particular, in any Caribbean country, for sure. And certainly the main business partner for the private sector across the Caribbean. We know this. And certainly you want government to be able to pay on time, because that affects everything.
Everybody and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's waiting for their money to pay. They need to pay their rent. They need to pay their suppliers. They need to pay their staff.
And even government services too. Government can function much more efficaciously when the respective allocations are distributed on time across the various ministries and statutory organizations and so forth. Because there's no point having an excellent tourism plan or wonderful plans for construction and road rehabilitation and so forth without a reliable cash flow.
Yeah. So it's important. It's a good decision, and I'm sure it'll be managed. It'll be managed well.
Well, there you go. And I think that's where the crux of the matter is. I heard you saying that it's not a loan, and I know that a line of credit is a maximum loan balance established between an entity and usually a financial institution. So I suspect that's why the opposition leader is insisting it's a loan and so forth. But of course, that balance is really is not as a loan is applied, and I can see that's where your side of the argument is coming.
You use the money. You use the money. You put it back. You use the money. You put it back.
So it's a more proportionate drawdown of the money rather than the lump sum.
You don't have the money.
Yes.
You don't buy the $25 million, then you pay it back over 15 years at a monthly rate.
Right.
You use it. You pay it back. You use it. You pay it back. You can overdraw your account by 25 million, and then you have to put to put it back. So in a sense, in a true sense of the word, I wouldn't of the word loan.
Yes.
I don't think it applies, but
Fair
you could call it what you want.
But it's also a sign of trust, in that the financial institutions trust the government. Like I said, or if I may paraphrase what I said earlier, you don't want the government undermining the trust of those financial institutions, because the fact that you can establish a line of credit says that the government, the financial institution trusts the government, and therefore they can do that. But I suspect that's what the opposition leader, and I hope that's where he was pointing to, in terms of make sure that this is dealt with properly.
Well, one of the questions I'd like to have answered is whether the government had to wait for any considerable length of time in order to apply for the line of credit, and whether the UK had to approve it. And was it that they couldn't do it until the Treasury was in a certain condition?
Yes.
Or
and it ties in with the point you made earlier to Edge Renker. Why wasn't it done before?
Yeah,
because most of these legislators, as the Deputy Premier said, have been in the House of Assembly, have been involved in politics for a number of years, and this cash flow problem has been ongoing.
It's not a new problem.
That's right.
Across governments.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's a good story.
Well, that's how it is. That's how it is at Drenka. Of course, there's always an opportunity for new things and new beginnings. And as you know, this is an opportunity for me to start new things and new beginnings. And certainly, I want to express my gratitude to all the wonderful supporters out there who have continued to encourage and support the work that I've been doing here at JTV. Certainly, the staff and everyone at JTV, members of the Virgin God Alliance Club and the Virgin God community, the Vincentian Association, and so forth, and everyone across this territory, and even the critics who are in the minority. I want to say a special thanks to everyone.
Yeah. well, Sean, I'm sure we hate to see you go, and I have to say thank you for making an addition to Spotlight. Because since you've been having the top news on Spotlight, certainly our ratings have gone up.
It's been an exciting journey.
Yeah.
I hope I can still be a part. Maybe I'll find a way to
call in and be a part, right?
Yes.
But certainly, I want to show my appreciation for your contribution to Spotlight. Thank you,
Much
and all the
appreciated.
best in your future endeavors.
Thank you.